Sustainability is producing products without harming the environment.
I think so, yeah. I feel like it's harder, but I think in the end it will have more benefits for the future. In a fashion sense, like you can like reuse things from thrift stores and stuff. Like I've made things where I've recycled fabrics.
I think it's a good thing for the environment and like the world. I guess just supporting people who are, like in the act of being sustainable and green.
In terms of like sustainable architecture and daylighting and things like that, efficient living spaces and working spaces, how do you think Pratt is doing in terms of their spaces?
Well, that it was just very short time ago that the Myrtle Avenue building was built. And we all hoped they'd have a really good green roof and lots of PV photovoltaics and use the aquifer. They didn't. It was always a cost factor, they said, which has often been a deterrent. There's some. I think Pratt is still behind the curve. And I'm not faulting necessarily the old buildings, because I love old things too. I mean, being an historian as well. But I know that there are many places which have been doing this since the 90s, like Oberlin, and many other places which New Yorkers tend to think, oh, it's the end of the earth. What do they know? Well, they know a lot. And since I've been all over the country with this thing and learning myself as I go every year, Pratt's getting there. They're getting there, but that's why it was such a hard thing to educate everybody to the fact that it's important and to get everybody working for that.
So it's a real systems approach. You start by educating and creating or sharing knowledge, and then you create knowledge through research, and then you put that knowledge into practice, and that's kind of the loop that we're looking at.
I think one of the best ways to do it is probably just educating the public, because that's, from my experience at least, that definitely has a big influence on whether or not people are living sustainably, is if they even know what that really means, if they understand how easy it is and the different ways that they can live sustainably and give back to the environment. I mean, I think so, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of technically in the future generation right now, so I kind of like to think that we should care, but I also think it's really important to have foresight.
We're not the only ones that are going to be living on this planet. There are going to be people coming after us that are going to need to keep it alive and doing well, so I think we should be planning forward.
To me it means being able to provide for like yourself and your community in a renewable way that is not affecting the environment. I know we can get better, and there's like a lot of things that we can do, such as recycling, trying to promote renewable energy sources like wind and solar. I've started recycling probably like 6 or 7 years ago, so that's one thing that I've been doing, and just trying to buy products that are not made with like harmful chemicals or anything that has negative effects on the climate. They can all go to GreenWeek so they can learn a lot more than they already know. They can also use the new like recycle bins that Pratt just got, research the sustainable materials that Pratt offers. It does, I think, because for one, it's gonna offer like a better like world for people that come after us, but for us particularly, it makes you feel good that you're doing something to sort of like combat the negative effects that humans have been having on the earth for like such a long time. I think that design is just another aspect that you can apply sustainability to, and you should apply sustainability to as many parts of your life as you can. So for a lot of people that are at Pratt that are like designers, that if you can build with sustainable materials, whatever you're doing is going to be used for sustainable purposes, then that's a good thing. I think that just people need to be more conscious about what they throw away and what can be recycled. And so one thing that people could stop doing would be to just throwing away plastic and cardboard and paper that they probably know can be recycled, but just don't like put enough effort into actually recycling it. I think that they can offer like recycling services that make it easier for people to recycle, and I think that like on the larger city scale, they can implement technologies to promote green energy, renewable energy, like wind or solar.
Well, my name is Omari Washington. This is my first semester as an environmental systems management graduate student. And for the last 5 years, I've been working at New York Restoration Project, an environmental nonprofit in the city that works in community gardens and other public parks. So my involvement in environmental issues has been a long-standing one, and I came to Pratt to deepen my understanding of urban agriculture, and I felt that as it fits into the environmental landscape and all other projects that are happening around the city, it will be important to understand how it fits into that and how we can build the presence of urban agriculture throughout the city. I am one of the 3 Green Infrastructure Fellows. My focus is in outreach and education. And so you'll add that into your space under AW. The bin weight, we kind of changed this, and maybe we'll go in and fix this. What's really great about Pratt, and the reason why I chose to attend this school, is that there's really a focus on the practitioner, and with so many people that are teaching classes that are also working in the field, there's a real dialogue between what we're learning here at school and what's really happening out in the city. The Green Infrastructure Project is a series of 2 projects. One is going to be installing a green roof on North Hall over on the main campus. And the second project is a retrofit of the parking lot Canadier Court. A great outcome of the fire, I mean, it's a terrible thing that happened, but a great outcome is that in having to redesign the roof, the administration is going to build a load-bearing roof that can also hold a green roof. And so as part of the Green Infrastructure Grant that was given through the DEP, the school will be able to apply for additional funds for the roof.
Many aspects of society that are implicated when we talk about sustainability. Healthcare is one of them. Most people think of it as being too expensive, and most people are saying, how can we get it cheaper? Our graduate studio took a different approach, and we thought of rethinking the entire idea about who cares for who, how do we care for what is an illness. So what we decided to do is to look at the problem not only in terms of designing a building, but in terms of having a solution for the entire United States. So all of the projects that you see here, and you have 8 students, and this is the introductory board. You should actually go over all of the 8. Each of the students took the healthcare problem that they thought was most interesting. This is by a student who happens to be a yoga teacher. She's from Korea. And she practices meditation, and she feels that meditation and sort of the rhythms of yoga and building up your strength and building up your balance says something about healthcare. That healthcare is not just about staying healthy and eating medication when you're no longer, but rather that it's to build community and so forth. So she took the idea of a reef. A reef can be a coral reef or a sand reef. But for her, the Reef is a rehabilitation and education center that takes an existing community and pairs it with a yoga center. So she found this very interesting community of women that do crochet, like knitting, and they knit these mathematical shapes. They're called hyperspaces. And they are able to knit them when the real smart mathematicians can't even calculate them. So it's a girl project. And they have a club, and it's called the Crochet Coral Reef Project. So her building is to accommodate the New York City chapter of the Hyperbolic Crochet Group. And because the site that we have chosen is in Long Island City, right next to MoMA PS1, there will be an exhibition of crochet right next to the exhibition, right? So again, it is figuring out how to integrate healthcare better into society, thereby making society more sustainable.
My name is Tetsuo Ohara. I'm the coordinator for the Environmental Coalition altogether. And we welcome you all and thank you for attending in this weather. Quickly, I just wanted to announce thank you.
Visiting assistant professor for
GreenWeek is presented by the coalition and sponsored by
Environmental
CSTS.
Coalition.
And we'd like to thank CSTS, Deb Johnson, Executive Director, for the financial support. And I'd like to thank School of Architecture for hosting the reception here today. Jamie Stein, Alex Barker, Meta Brunsima, and Brent Porter's work are distributed everywhere in the lobby, here in the pit also. Please go see it after the announcement.
My name is Tetsuo Ohara. I'm visiting assistant professor for interior design and also a coordinator for Pratt Environmental Coalition. This is my 5th year coordinating a GreenWeek, and how it started was just a quick opportunity. There was a group of people who wanted to get together and make invisible visible, something that is hidden underneath our department. There are a lot of students and faculty getting involved with the sustainable concerns, but it never really came surfaced. So my interest was to find a venue to be able to open that up, to be able to display, share, and communicate, and send a message. So the GreenWeek was available through Sustainable Pratt, and it wasn't my project, but it used to be run by Tony Gelber and Carol Crawford, and I took on afterwards. The major shift and change has been that more students are actively involved and they're interested in seeing it. So that shift has allowed more faculties to get involved. And it was more of an isolated thing in the past where faculty has been propagating the importance of sustainability, but the students were not aware or know what to do and how to propose. And it wasn't also integrated in the curriculum as much. So I think there was a little bit of both, but students have really made a huge difference in this success of in terms of turnarounds and quality of work. And I think there is, not just because of Pratt Institute, there's a larger societal, communal change that is happening outside of Pratt, and they wanted to somehow find a way to output those feelings and thinking.